Hello everybody and welcome to this bonus episode of the Kamidogu podcast. I am Christopher Beljanovsky, and joining me as always is the man, the myth, the legend, Toasty.
Toasty! Greetings everyone. Today we have a very unique announcement to make. Our friend and famous producer Larry Kasanoff is starting a live auction event with Premier Props. The man behind Premier Props is Dan Levin, who we will also have on the show today. Before we get started, I just need to point out that we ran into several technical issues while filming this, including a shape-shifting bird in Larry's office, computers not turning on, dropouts from Wi-Fi, and speakers not working. Nevertheless, we implore you to listen in on the special as it plays a big deal. The reason we're emphasizing this particular auction is due to the fact that all kinds of MK props will be appearing at this event. It will be located on 128 Sierra Street, El Segundo, California, December 10th at 11 a.m. PST, that is PST, is when it's all going down. If you're a diehard Mortal Kombat fan, they can be yours to have. Coming from the much beloved 1995 film or the cult classic Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And if that's not enough, a little birdie told me, that's ironic, that you can expect some special guests at the event. Who they are? I guess we shall find out in the podcast. This is a colossal deal in Mortal Kombat history, and it was only suitable that we bring news of this straight to you. Please enjoy our interview with Larry and Dan. We truly hope you can find appeal and participate at the event. And away we go. So to start off, I am most curious. Would this happen to be the biggest Mortal Kombat auction known to man?
Yes, 100% known to man, definitely. There's never been a bigger auction with all the props and costumes together at one time. There's maybe even one or two, items ever offered to the public, but in this case, it's literally everything that is valuable, which is incredible.
Wow.
Incredible. So what exactly is included in this collection, and what are some of the key props and costumes on offer?
So Larry, do you want to talk about some of the items?
Yeah, sure. So let me explain, and then Dan, you can go on about them. So from the movies, we took a bunch of, New Line gave us a bunch of props and things, and we took them right from the movies to our corporate collection in our studios in Santa Monica, where they've been ever since. And I love them, and we've got a ton of them. But during the pandemic, we used to have a lot of animators here, but they couldn't come in. So we worked with Microsoft and NVIDIA, and we built a worldwide network of animators in places like Nepal and India, and they're working incredibly well. So even though the pandemic is over, we're not bringing them back, and therefore we're moving offices, and we just can't fit all the stuff in our new office. We're keeping what we can, but we just can't fit it. So we really don't want to, we love this stuff, but since we literally can't fit it, we want to make sure it winds up in the hands of people who love it. I mean, there's a good speculation. You can buy it, it'll go up in value in 2 years, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get into the hands, and that's why we were fortunate enough to work with Dan, who really loves this stuff and understands the movie world of it. So some of these things are quite iconic. Like Dan is sitting behind, maybe you can pan up, he's sitting behind the actual Mortal Kombat doors from the first movie, which are the literal doors to Outworld, which open and Goro comes out and goes like this. And later that's where Shang Tsung snatches Sonya Blade and takes her. We've had these doors in our office, in our screening room ever since the movie. And then Dan is also sitting next to the only surviving, as we know, reptile statue. Now these statues, we have a lot of statues. They were really interesting. In those days, there was a couple of artisans who would take a huge block of hard foam and carve it like Michelangelo. They just, it's gone. The artists and crafts, as far as we know of it, was gone. And then it's hard coated. So it looks really solid, but it's light. And then the coating is infused with little bits of reflective blue and orange because our fire and ice are our super symbols in the movie, and so that's why if you can see, I don't know if you can see on your screen, but it really reflects blue and red really, really, really well. And then
Wow.
we have one of the things we're auctioning is Shang Tsung's actual jacket.
Oh,
The most important thing we always get asked for over the years are, what do you have? Can we see props? And we never told anyone this, but some of the costumes were in a collection I had at home, but that house unfortunately burned down. And so a lot of those costumes burned down. So really the only one we have is Shang Tsung's jacket, which is the actual jacket Shang Tsung wore, handmade leather, handmade stitches, all these beautiful, great things, and we have tons of them. And so we really had to curate what can we fit in our new office and what can't we. And it's all for a good reason. I mean, it really advanced in how we animate now, but we just have to find these places good homes. So that's why we're doing it.
wow,
And it's
brilliant.
and add to what Larry's saying, it's such a vast collection, which is great. So the fans can actually get a signed poster from Larry. We're going to have some of the cast members coming as well. Reptile's going to be coming, and Scorpion, and different actors as well. They can,
Yeah, so you mean, so Chris Casam, so we're having a big live event, and so Chris Casamassa, Scorpion, as you know, is joining us, and Keith Cook is joining us, Reptile, and Lyndon Ashby, Johnny Cage is joining us. We're gonna have a big fun event next Saturday as well.
So this is a great live event. What's really amazing about it is there's literally something for everyone. So if you want to spend $50, $100, you could buy collectible coins from Mortal Kombat, or a signed poster, or there's the weapons that we're having right here, or the doors like we talked about to the outworld. And the most amazing thing is we'll ship it anywhere in the world. So the fans in Russia or they're in Japan, we're going to ship it directly to Japan, or if they're in the United States as well. But it literally, they can watch the show, so it's a live auction and this hosted show, and they can go directly to HollywoodLiveAuctions.com, and the catalog is up right now, so they can pre-bid, see what the catalog is, all the different items, and then the day of the auction, this is going to be broadcast live, so they can watch it literally from their couch, make their bids, talk about they're going to see the different clips that the prop was in Mortal Kombat, listen to the actors coming talking about it, Larry as well, and then they can have something that they can own, which would be incredible, as they can just tell their story to their friends. And so you do the same thing, right? If you owned one of these great props, you would just be talking about it probably forever, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So that's what we want to bring to the fans, is something iconic they can own, and they will have it literally forever. And imagine if you're the owner of stores, you're going to be the only owner at your house to have these doors. But again, we'll ship them, and they'll come delivered in present condition right to wherever the buyer.
So that is most intriguing. But tell me, are there any really fun or unique stories behind some of these props in the movie? Is there anything that really stands out to you, or maybe a prop that you haven't mentioned yet?
Well, I think I told you this when we spoke last, but when we screen the movie Mortal Kombat, when you finish a movie, often you do a test screening to an audience. And usually the results of that test screening are all over the place, so it's hard to assess what to do with the results. When we test screened the first cut of the first Mortal Kombat movie, 99% of the audience said, "I love the movie, I want more fights." And so New Line, the studio, was great. We went back, we wrote, built, shot 2 more fights, which is the Johnny Cage Scorpion fight and the Reptile Liu Kang fight, which were not in the original script. And I would say they're probably 2 of the best fights in the whole franchise. And so but they weren't in the original. And now it's hard to imagine the movies without them. And so one of the things we have is the actual shields that Johnny Cage used to fight Scorpion. And we have 3 of them, because 2 he used in the fight, which are a little frayed around the edges because they were really used. And then the third one is the one that sliced Scorpion and was actually lit on fire.
Okay.
So they were really used. They were really done. What I always like about that is, you never know in a movie. You think you got it. You think it's perfect. And then that wasn't in the script. It wasn't original. And imagine if we didn't have that in the movie.
Yeah,
So I always like to keep things like that, reminded by things like that, saying you always have to be open to learning something creative you did not expect when you started.
Right, and the burn shield is super, super original, obviously, because there's only one. And the option, we're estimating that between $3,000 and $5,000, and that's been a favorite right now on the catalog. So that is really a great one to own for sure.
The other thing too is that it's sitting in front of Dan are a bunch of weapons from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, from the Shao Kahn battle when he takes over in the beginning. Dan, hold up the sword, will you? Because it's cool. And what we did is they're all real. I mean, they're metal and wood, and they're actually really sharp. So you have to be careful. But all the weapons are also designed by the people who are using them. In other words, if a guy has a sword, he knows how to use a sword. If he has a spear, he knows how to use a spear. If he has a whip, he knows how to use the whip. Because we were incredibly authentic to the martial arts in all the movies. So everyone really was an expert in the weapon they were holding or using.
Very nice. So,
and it goes on and on. One of the things we have, which is really unusual, we thought we lost them, but we found them, which are we have all the blueprints and designs for all the sets in Mortal Kombat Annihilation that I think Dan has grouped into sets. And they were supervised by me and done by Charles Woods, who's now probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, production designer there is, and having done Avengers Endgame and Guardians of the Galaxy, and on and on and on. And so it was really great. But when you look at those original cost designs, they're so beautiful. And I remember, I think my favorite are the set of designs about the ice cave where Scorpion and Sub-Zero fought. And we built this massive, cliffs and ice set inside a studio in London. And when it was built, it's just been built. It's just a bunch of 2x4s and scaffolding and stuff. And then when you build it, you build into it some padding because you know where the choreography is going to go. So if the guy's going to hit this stone, it's got some padding in it. That wasn't there yet. So I'm on a ladder 22 feet high, and on another ladder is one of the Hong Kong stunt guys. We used to call him Jack. And I was trying to pantomime to him where he would go when it was built. And so I would say, okay, so then here, and then I turned around and I heard a thud. And he threw himself off the 20-foot ladder into a 2x4 onto the concrete floor, which is not supposed to happen. You're never supposed to do it until the whole thing is built. But he was just trying so hard to he could. And he was amazed. He was like a cat. And he was fine. But so there's a lot of stuff.
And Larry whip here, which is super, super iconic. There's only one. And talking about the fight scenes, like you said, I mean, this is incredible to have this. And it's all hand, obviously, all hand woven. And
yeah, so that's Shao Kahn's whip, which is, it's actually nylon underneath it, but it's actually hand stitched.
It's all hand stitched, that's right. It's not.
And we have Shao Kahn's Warhammer, so we have all it's really great stuff. As I said, I'm sad to part with it, but I'm happy we now have an international group of animators, but it is great stuff. And so we really want to make sure it winds up with good homes.
Right, and then
I think this is going to
like DVDs that can be signed, and there's there's books, there's figurines, which are rare now. I mean, these are decades years old from the film. So there really is something for everyone, and then it'll just be fun for fans to listen live and call in, and we're going to do giveaways during the auction. But they're going to learn more. They probably already know everything, but they might not know. They can ask questions, but it's just a fun opportunity to be able to come together for the first ever big auction for both Mortal Kombat, and then have directed questions to Larry and to the actors as well. So we're just really excited that we can offer this for the first time, with Larry.
So there's definitely going to be a lot of interest internationally, I think. Are there any limitations to what you can actually ship? Because, I mean, those doors behind you are not only enormous, but I assume they're extremely heavy as well.
No, they're not extremely heavy.
No?
But, there's not any limitation at all. We have, our packers and shipper that we use consistently for our auctions. So, no, anywhere in the world we ship. I mean, we've shipped, trains from Germany down to LA, or we've shipped entire productions. So it's the sky's the limit with wherever we can ship to. And it will get to the fans' home in great shape, and that's just something that we definitely can do. So they can definitely be confident that they're going to get whatever they're going to win to their home.
Very nice. Seem to have lost Toasty, so we'll just continue on with the show. So considering the number of years since the release of many of these projects, why are they being offered at this point in time, aside from, space and that sort of thing?
Well, as I said, there is no other reason other than space.
Okay.
We it's really interesting in pandemic because you try and look for silver linings, and something we were making a movie at Universal called Bobblehead starring Cher, and the pandemic started, and it's a CGI animated movie, and a lot of our animators used to be in the same nearby to where Dan is actually sitting now, but we couldn't do that because of the pandemic. But we figured out how to, and we had been interested in this anyway, how to build a network of digital artists all over the world using Azure Cloud, and then NVIDIA joined in as well and gave us really high-end rendering chips, and so we did this huge experiment as the pandemic was coming, and then when it hit. The experiment was so successful, we didn't even really lose any time because everything was in the cloud and we were able to move around to accommodate. We had 5 different, animation groups around the world doing it, and it's fantastic. It's better, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's more creative, it's more inclusive because we get to pick people from all over the world, and so we have all these, different people from different countries working on our movies, and we love it. So we're sticking with it. We made the hard decision that this is something that originally was done out of necessity from the pandemic, but we decided it's actually a great way of doing it, so we're not coming back. And so therefore we just are moving to a space without room for 100 animators, and if you can see where Dan's sitting, it's those are 16 feet high. It's just hard to fit in the next space. There is no other reason. I mean, we wouldn't do it if this didn't come up. We would never sell this stuff.
Yeah.
And I am keeping some of it, not the things you see, but we're keeping a few things.
I'd imagine so. So for those looking to attend in person, where is the event going to be held? Is it free entry, and are there any costs for parking?
No,
or
it
like
is.
that?
It is free to enter. There's no cost for parking, and they can come live. And the address is 128 Sierra Street, and that's in El Segundo at Hollywood Live Auctions, and that's where they can watch the auction. We have our auctioneer. We have our show. We have an open bar. That's fun too. So. That sparks people's interest. They can just come and it doesn't matter what time it is. We'll have mimosas and everything else. And then we'll have food as well. But if they can't come live, they can go right to HollywoodLiveAuctions.com and register to bid. The catalog is up right now. And what's great is they can actually start bidding for the item and put their pre-bids in. And then when the auction goes live, they can watch it and continue bidding or set their maximum bid. But again, they don't have to be there live. They can be watching it live from anywhere in the world, and that's what's fun. And we make it super, just like this show. It's very casual. It's very fun. People get an insight into the making of the movie, where their prop was featured. So when they're looking at these weapons, they're actually seeing it. A clip of the movie. Then we're going to talk about it. How it was made, what scene it was used in, and then we'll start debating. So now that fan has a story to tell when they own it at their home. So that's what we love doing.
Very, very nice. And finally, I guess, what do you want all the diehard Mortal Kombat fans to take away from this event, aside from, amazing
I think from our perspective is a place that they could just have fun, a place that they can, kind of celebrate Mortal Kombat, because this is a celebration is really what it is. And it's bringing home these props that haven't ever been offered to the public. So I think it's a celebration. That's what I wanted them to take home, is to celebrate Mortal Kombat, be excited about this experience, and, just be part of it. That's really what I'm excited about, because there are so many diehard fans from the game, from the movies, and it just continues. So this franchise is just ongoing.
Internet issues all over here. Well, thank you all so much for sharing that with us today. We're extremely excited to send this out to our audiences. And it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's going to be a big event.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Always fun to talk to you.
Okay, my friends. And there we have all the information that you were likely searching for. It's always nice connecting with such great people, and we hope they were able to intrigue you and that you can follow this event very closely. This is every Mortal Kombat fan's dream, and if you were determined to get something worthy from the set of these classic box office hit movies, now is your chance. Either way, we appreciate you tuning into our bonus episode today. It means a lot. We have 2 more episodes to go for the year, and we're extremely delighted to bring them to you throughout the weeks. In the meantime, have fun, stay safe, and
Stay flawless.